Hey there, YouTube. Thanks for stopping by the channel and thanks for clicking play today. Today, I'm going to do a 6-month review of ownership of my 2024 C8 Z06. I told myself when I picked this car up that I was going to do a 6-month review, that I was going to go over the things I liked, the things I didn't like, what I thought Chevy did well, what I thought they could improve on. And I've driven the E-Ray, I've driven the Stingray, and people ask me, David, would you buy this car again? And the answer is hell yes. I would buy this car again any day of the week, every day of the week. It is such an amazing car. It is an absolute track monster, and it's something you could daily drive every day if you wanted to. You really, really, really could. I'm going to get into these features here in a minute and show you around the car a little bit more and show you some of the things that, I think we get a home run on, some of the things we missed. But if you haven't already, guys, please like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button so you get notified when we put content up so you guys can see it early. Help us grow this channel. Help us keep bringing you good content like this. Let's get into this review today. All right, so first off, guys, I want to kind of just go over the exterior a little bit. The first thing, and I know I say it all the time, but this carbon flash metallic paint in the sun is absolutely insane how good it looks. I do like the wheels that came, the standard wheels for the Z06. Brandon's are in black. Mine are the graphite just because I have the carbon flash, and I've, after ownership, have done the carbon fiber boomerang, carbon fiber side skirts. I've got some carbon fiber winglets coming, and then I'll have the Z07 package wing coming soon. So I absolutely love the color. I love the way the color changes. As you can see, today is a great, beautiful day here in Georgia, and we can see just how good this looks from that standpoint. The styling of the car, I love. Okay, it's 3 inches wider than the regular car. I mean, you're looking at these big bulging fenders in the front. I thought Chevy did a really good job of the front wheels are pretty tucked in pretty well. I think they sit about as flush as you can get them without worrying about throwing rocks and things up under your car and into your radiators there. But the back wheels were not as good, I think, from the factory. So I put the 20 millimeter Paragon spacers on them. I am going to remedy that with some custom offset rims on the back. But again, I think all in all, they did a good job with the design of the wheels and an amazing job with the design of the car. Again, as you come around the back here, you can really start to see, just the width of this car. It is awesome. So exterior wise, I did some the edge red badges here, factory option. I have edge red calipers, factory option. I've added the carbon fiber. I added the window tint. Of course, you guys saw the video where I did the exo shield on the windshield. So I have pretty much all windows have 99% or higher UV blockage. But the exterior of the car, they did an amazing job designing it. I love the more aggressive boomerangs on the Z06 versus the Z51 or just the regular Stingray. And then again, of course, the color is absolutely awesome. So one place that I think Chevy did a pretty good job here is actual cargo space. So many of the rear engine, mid-engine cars, Porsche's rear engine, there's a lot of mid-engine cars, McLarens and, Ferraris and Lamborghinis and things. They really don't have any storage in the back. At least, we have storage here in the back of the Corvettes, the C8 generation. GM claims 2 golf bags. They better be pretty small golf bags, but I've eaten into some of my cargo space here with my Eventuri clear intake, but I don't care because I love the way that looks, and that is one of the big show pieces that everybody always wants to know about. And then, of course, heading up to the front here, you have your front trunk or your frunk that will fit a couple of bags, pretty, soft side bags pretty comfortably. You can't get an airline size roll on in there very easily. I will say, I've tried that. Traveling by yourself for a weekend, several days, no big deal. Brandon was traveling with his wife when we went to the bash, and between the two of them and their items for several days, it was a real squeeze. We did lose cargo space in this generation, even though they gave it to us front and back, but I guess it could be much worse. The C5s had, 14 cubic feet of cargo space, which was probably the lowest of all the generations. The C6 got what seems to be a relatively cavernous 22 cubic feet. The C7s had 15 cubic feet, and now with the C8s, we've dropped to 12.6 cumulative cubic feet between the back and the front. Again, can you get by with it? Yes. Can you daily this? Yes. Does it make a great road trip weekend car? Yes. You're not going to go on a long haul with a week's worth of luggage. It's just not going to happen in this car. I'll tell you another thing that's amazing about this car, and you guys have probably seen it on my videos before, is it's fast. I mean, it is legitimately fast. I mean, we've taken it to the track. This is a low 10-second car now. I mean, Hendrix and some other people online have been getting, 998, 999 with weight reduction and some sticky tires. This car's fast. I'm going to show you some video here of just some runs that we've done before so you guys can kind of get refreshed on these. You may or may not have seen these, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to throw those in for you real quick. Okay, so you guys can see that it's a fast car. We took out a Porsche Taycan Turbo S on roll racing. They killed us from a dig. I mean, we've got nothing for that from a dig. But the other thing is the sound this car makes. Okay, it legit sounds like a Ferrari on steroids. It is that flat plane crank, that Italian sound, that exotic sound. It sounds absolutely amazing, and I love it. I'm going to put in some clips here of just some exhaust sounds you guys can hear and some pulls on the dyno, so you can hear this thing at full song, and then we'll come back to it. The other thing I really love is this intake manifold and the builder plaque, just kind of the way the back just looks. It just looks menacing. It is one of the best looking mid-engine cars, mid-engine designs. And of course, GM admits they, bought a Ferrari 458, tore the motor apart and reverse engineered it. So it's very similar to what you would get there. But that's another thing I really enjoy on this car. One thing I'm not a fan of, and this is kind of, Corvette, C7's had it as well, but like the door unlock is here, and it feels kind of clumsy. It works every time. It's not that it doesn't work, but it feels kind of clumsy for the price point of what you're looking at here. Again, I love the interior. This is a massive step up from previous generations of cars that we've had, right? But there are some things in the interior that I'm not a fan of. All right, so one of the things that kind of a lot of people ask is, how's the noise? How's the road noise? When you're in the cabin, it's not bad at all. We have the big tires, the performance tires, so you do get a little road noise from the tires. The motor sits right behind you, so you're going to actually get that mechanical valve train this when you're idling or parked, and when you're going, you're going to hear the motor behind you. I love it. I absolutely love having that sound by me, much less this LT6 sound, not even just the regular 6.2, but this LT6 sound back there is just a symphony. It is just gorgeous. And it does get loud when you're on it. I would say that when I'm cruising, I do have the Paragon exhaust on it, and that when you're talking about the Paragon exhaust, there's just a tiny bit of drone if you get around 3,000 or 3,500 RPM where you're just cruising, but that doesn't happen. The transmission's so good, it pulls it back down, and, it keeps pretty low RPMs, and you don't ever get into that. And then when you're on it, you're just zipping right past that, so you really don't kind of experience that for any extended period of time. It does have a nice sound at startup, which we're going to go ahead and start this up, and then we'll see how it sounds as far as when it gets down to the idle once it gets going here. So here we go. So here you can see motor right back there, engine right back there, and this is the cold start, so it's a little bit louder than it normally is. It will settle down on RPMs, and then you'll see that it'll get much quieter, which right now it's not really that loud. It's hovering about 1,500 RPMs, you'll see, and then in just a second it will actually drop down. Here we go. And we're going to idle just under 1,000. And do you guys hear how quiet that is? I mean, that's pretty freaking awesome, right? Now, it does have a good exhaust note. You can hear it. I like that. I don't know if that's coming across on the video, but when you give it the gas and you rev it or you downshift it with the E-Venturi intake, now I can hear a whoosh of air as you hit the throttle, because you could just have less of a barrier for the noise that's coming from the intake. But I love the sound of it, especially on the downshifts. It's much more pronounced on the downshifts when you it's just this whoosh before it goes whoo. So again, I can't get enough of this motor. I can't get enough of the way this car sounds. But there are some interior things that I really think GM could have done a better job with, and I'm going to go over those right now. Okay, so the one thing that I am kind of a little bit disappointed with is the little bit of lag you get in the infotainment center here when you do it. Also, the screen's a little small. I mean, it's 2024, guys. I mean, the screen could be all the way out to the edge. It could kind of be more tapered in and fit in with the regular display on the dash. So I think they kind of dropped the ball on that. I know a lot of people have a problem with the wall of buttons, but I enjoy the wall of buttons. I like to feel like I'm in a cockpit, and I don't really care if my passenger feels like they are isolated from the experience. It's my experience. Also, too, I love the dash. I love the way it's laid out. I love the way that you can change all of the display options. You can put it into, sleep mode and all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to verbally say click when I change it mode, so you can see how long it takes for the dash to change. It's pretty annoying sometimes. So here we go. Click. And there it changed into sport. Click. I just hit the button, and there it changed into track. So again, you can see there's even a little bit of lag here when you do it on the screen here. So click, right? That's a little bit laggy, not nearly as bad as the dash. Click, that was a little better, but it does get pretty laggy. So again, that's something they really could have done a better job with, in my opinion. But as far as the rest of the interior goes, I'm really happy with it. The next thing, you guys like my carbon fiber pieces here from Paragon, and my Z button. The other thing that I'm really kind of looking forward to is on the 2025 models, this plastic cover here for the airbag is going to be leather and it's going to be stitched. So I'm going to get a red stitched 2025 airbag and swap this one out. It's only basically 2 bolts in the back and you just change the connections behind it. But I think this is kind of, you know, nice leather here. The leather in the rest of the car is beautiful. The leather on the dash, the stitching. But this is vinyl with this plastic crap. And I think Chevy could have done a lot better job with that. I know they really, you want to have the same piece for all the Corvettes for cost and all that, but they could have done a much better job with this. And before people ask, yes, that is a red Z button. Yes, Paragon only has them for the 2023. Yes, you can modify it that it'll actually work here on the 2024. So hopefully they'll have some 2024s coming and you can pick yours up. But I had to do a little modification to get the 2024 one to fit with the 2023. But it does fit with a little elbow grease and some very fine sandpaper. Other than that, the interior is awesome. I'm happy with it. Those are my only 2 real beefs, or the entertainment center. Like, this is a small screen. It could have been one big long looping screen as an integration, and then how slow the process is as far as turning it from one mode to the other. And that's really my only big beef about that. The very last thing that I will say, if you buy any C8 Corvette, okay, this is not specific to my Z06 or Z06. If you buy any, you have zero visibility in these things. They suck for visibility. You can't see crap. But Chevy was nice enough to give you a rear view mirror that is actually a camera. And it gives you almost a 180-degree view behind your vehicle, so you can pretty much see up to the blind spot. So you'll see cars kind of come up into the side of that rear view mirror camera, and by the time they're hitting the edge of that camera, they're right here in your field of view. So that helps eliminate that blind spot. But if you don't use that, you have zero, I mean literally zero visibility for changing lanes and everything. It's terrible. So I'm glad they put that camera on there. I don't ever run the rear view mirror. I always run the camera, because with the rear view mirror you can't see anything, and it's very nerve-wracking when you have to change lanes in traffic some places like Atlanta. Okay, terrible traffic. I'm going to show you that mirror real quick, and then we're going to get back to the exterior of the car. All right, so here's the camera mirror. I don't know if I can get that to focus all that well, but I'll show you when you flip it, like if you're going to dim it, you turn off, there's the mirror, okay? And currently I have it set like that because I have put my mounts on for my cameras, but you can see now that I have it there, I mean, there's no visibility there. Look at that. That's ridiculous. But if you hit it like if you were going to dim the switch, you hit it, it goes to the camera. And like I said, when you get out to the edges here of a car, right, you can see my wings in the back. They're just about at your blind spot where you can see them coming up. So kudos, Chevy, on that, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see anything. So, all right, let's get to the outside of the car again. Okay, and one thing that I really did not like, the factory floor mats were very cheap. They were very thin. They were like AutoZone quality for a car of this caliber. They should not be. But I've got the EOS custom stitched floor mats, and I've taken care of that. They look a lot better, and that's not really an issue anymore. One thing I will say is kind of getting in and out of this thing. It's much wider. You can see from the seat to the edge of the splitter here, the side splitter. So you got to be careful getting out so you don't catch the side splitter with your shoe or your foot when you're getting out. I'm sure as I get older, it's going to get harder to get in and out of here, but I don't care. All right, some of the last things I just kind of have a problem with, and this is not a GM thing or a Chevy or a Corvette thing, but the tires on this thing are massive, okay? They are really, really wide. I mean, we've got, you know, 275 30/20s up front, and then we've got 345s, I believe it is, 345s out back. The issue is when you're cruising on the highway, you get grooved pavement or something, or you hit something, this thing likes to dart all over the place, okay? And it's just because it has those big, huge, wide tires for traction. You have that traction, then what ends up happening is then you end up where you hit anything like that, and the car wants to go ahead and just kind of tram, as they call it, all over the place. The other thing is traction on this thing, on the street, with launch control, forget about it. I mean, maybe you'll get 1 out of 10 really good launches on the street, but as far as the actual claim times that GM's claiming, or like some of these, YouTube or internet heroes are claiming, you're not getting those times on this car on the street with just the 4S tires. Maybe the Cup 2Rs, maybe some drag radials, but you're not getting those on this. It's just not happening. And the last thing that I kind of have an issue with, and it's not anything that really you could do anything about from a standpoint unless you had the carbon ceramics or you upgrade the pads, is this car makes a ton of brake dust. I mean, I can have my car completely clean, drive it 1 mile down the road to the gas station and come back, and it's got brake dust all over it. You take a long trip like we did from here in Georgia to Bowling Green for the NCM bash, covered. Your wheels look brown, covered. There's plenty of brake dust on your wheels to take care of that. So that's another issue I kind of take with the car. That's just, it's an annoyance. It really, really is. I mean, I guess it keeps me honest for how how clean the car actually is, but it's still annoying, man. You just really don't want to have to deal with that if you don't have to. I mean, I just want to get you guys another shot here of this. One of my favorite things about this car is this carbon flash metallic paint here in this beautiful sun today. Again, they're not going to make this color 2025, so if you don't have an anniversary edition or a 2024 with it, you're not getting this color. So that makes me love that I've got this color even more now. All right, guys, so that about wraps it up. There's one more thing that I forgot to mention that kind of, is a minor annoyance. If you live anywhere where you're going to experience heavy traffic on a regular basis, the Z06 kind of seems twitchy, I would say. That's probably the best way to characterize it, as far as if you're talking about sitting in traffic with the stop and go. It seems twitchy, like it just wants to run on you. But that's a minor annoyance. It doesn't get hot. They did a great job with the cooling. There's been no issues with that on these cars. I've sat in traffic. We've sat in like the supercar roll-in, revving our cars for 35, 45 minutes. I mean, they never get over 190 degrees for me or Brandon. The cooling's amazing. They learned their lessons from the C8 Z06. And then, these fans are amazing. You'll shut off the car and the fans will run for another 5-10 minutes, just cooling the car. It's awesome stuff. Okay. That's just another minor annoyance. Now, the question always becomes, and I see it online all the time, would you trade your Z06 for an E-Ray? Or E-Ray or Z06, which should I order? I'm telling you now, if you have driven all of them, there is absolutely no question whatsoever which one you want. And I'm telling you, it's the Z06. Okay, it's just the E-Ray's awesome. The tech is awesome. It is quick out of the hole, man. Like, this car doesn't have anything for an E-Ray out of the hole. This car is definitely a lot faster. But as far as out of the hole, we don't have anything for that. But what I'll tell you is the experience you get with this car, with the sound, the performance, the speed, the way it handles, you don't get that in the E-Ray or the Stingray. This so far is the only car you can get that in, and it is something else. It's really part of the ownership. And then performance for dollar spent. I mean, you're not seeing this in the world of performance today, that you can get into this car for 120, 125 grand, decently spec'd, and go out there and beat supercars. Go out there and compete with supercars. I mean, it's awesome, guys. So, would I do this again? Would I have bought this car? I've got 6 months now, 2,000 miles on it. I've been back and forth to Bowling Green a couple of times. I go to Brandon's house all the time. Would I buy this again? Like I said at the beginning of the video, hell yes. This is the best car I've ever owned. It's one of the best cars I've ever driven, and I am not disappointed. Every time I start it up, it puts a smile on my face. You guys saw, the racing videos. You heard the exhaust sounds. You heard the way this engine just wails. It is an absolute symphony. I mean, I can't get enough of that. I'd like to downshift the transmission anytime I can. If you're a Z06 owner, Justin, Brandon, Jeremy, I mean, you guys know, you just can't get enough of this. It's intoxicating, it's addicting, and you want more. So I kind of hope this helps you guys, as far as what we liked, what we didn't like, and where we're at after 6 months of owning our Z06 here. And again, 2,000 miles, and it's just still, every time I start it up, gives me so much joy. I want to thank you guys for being with me on this journey. We've been slowly growing this channel. It's picking up some steam. Thank you, everybody. Everybody I met at the bash. Thank you, all you folks. We've got some really big things coming in the future. We've got some products we're going to be releasing. Check us out every other week on Horsepower Obsessed Livestream, Corvette Weekly. Brandon and I are on there every other week. Check us out. And if you have any questions, email us, dbmracing2019@gmail.com. We love conversing with subscribers, with fans, with people who just stop by the channel. Send us questions. We'll answer them. Ask us what you think, or ask us what we think, and we'll give you honest answers and honest opinions about this. But I couldn't be happier with my purchase. I'm never getting rid of this car. I love it. Even for a ZR1, which I'm on the list for, I'm having a hard time justifying getting rid of this car even for a ZR1. So thank you guys for being here today, and I hope you enjoyed just kind of my review of my 6-month ownership of my Z06.